From the Live X Studios in New York City, Cheesehead TV brings you two guys who like to think they know something about football.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Packer Transplants Live. I am Aaron Nagler, and joining me, as always, is Mr. Corey Behnke, my partner here at Cheesehead TV. I'm coming to you live from my apartment in New York City. Corey joins us across the street from Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and we are ready to talk some Packers. What do we have on tap today, Corey?
Today, we revel in the fact that the road to the Super Bowl runs through that place right there after the Packers demolish the Minnesota Vikings. But right now, it's time for the good, the bad, and the ugly. We got the good. We got
Allen Lazard.
We got the bad. We got
Corey Bojorquez.
We got the ugly. We got
Paul Allen, and I don't mean the guy in American Psycho. I mean the dude who calls the radio calls for the Minnesota Vikings. Oh, after you wish the Packers would lose every single game there a couple weeks ago in Minnesota, now the Packers have won every single game, including the previous game against the Vikings. So, good night. Enjoy the offseason, Paul Allen. Parting is not such sweet sorrow, because you're a jackass. So, and I hear, Corey, I hear that we were mentioned on his radio program, but I have yet to hear the audio.
I haven't seen.
So I'm not so sure.
I'm
not so sure I believe this report. I don't know.
I would like it if he was talking about. I would like it if he was talking about us. He's terrible. I don't even know how he has his job. He wouldn't have a job in Alaska. That's how bad he is. But somehow he gets a job in Minnesota. He wouldn't have a job in North Dakota radio. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
like he wouldn't have a Division III play calling job. How does he have? It just goes to show that organization.
That just shows the substandard organization that is the Minnesota Vikings. Come on, we all know
there are no standards. Basically,
who they are. The standard is not having a standard. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So we'll move on from that. Behnke, we're back. No transplants last week, but we are back this week, and the Packers are the number one seed, baby. Number one seed in the NFC.
Love to see
it.
Yet
again. Loving it. And they've clinched it prior to the end of the year. Like, they've got a whole game now. They can do whatever they want. I kind of like it.
I hope they play some backups. That's all I'm hoping for.
I think that will happen eventually, but obviously all the talk this week has been about Matt LaFleur, Aaron Rodgers, Davante Adams et al. Saying that they're going to play starters at least initially in this game.
One
they're
drive.
Going there to win it, etc.
If they get a touchdown,
what's funny is, like,
they're pulling everybody out.
I think they're going to play at least a half, although the first kind of crack in the veneer so far was Davante Adams this afternoon saying, I don't anticipate playing the whole game. I think they're going there. They're going to set some records, and they're going to be like, all right, Jordan Love and company, let's go.
We done.
Take this over. We done. Speaking of we done, we are not done with this new feature that, let's call a spade, Behnke. Ever since we introduced the hotness, the Packers have been on a tear, especially offensively.
There you go.
It's almost like they were waiting for us.
Yeah, they don't
we're
like
happy
it
to
when we
oblige.
go to news right away.
No, they're all about getting to the hotness. So let's do it. Let's get to the hotness. That's right, baby. It's time for the hotness. I can't get enough of that track, man. It's so good. So this week, obviously, as there is every week, there's a lot to choose from when it comes to the hotness. You could choose any one of the incredible throws from Aaron Rodgers to Davante Adams, but you could probably do that on any given week. You could highlight any number of blown up double teams by Kenny Clark if you wanted to go on the defensive side of the ball. But this week, we went with our guy. We went with A.J. Dillon plowing through a mass of humanity to score a touchdown. Let's look at this. Let's look at the hotness this week. Look at A.J. in the backfield here. Look, there are like 400 dudes, and he still gets in the end zone, including like this.
Dudes.
extension.
He's like, oh, look at
like
me.
a superhero. I mean, come on.
That's crazy.
You cannot get hotter than that. And to my point about, wanting to keep, the hotness clearly having an effect on the team. Let's play this from QB1 here from earlier today.
The healthiest team and the hottest team usually makes the deepest run. So, hopefully we can get out of this next game healthy and get some guys back and keep the hotness going. The healthiest
keep
team
the
and the hottest
hotness going. See what I'm saying? Got to keep the hotness going. 12 watches the show. Everyone talks about how Aaron Rodgers hates CHTV, hates me. He's clearly a huge fan. He's been waiting for the hotness all year. And when we finally started doing it, they started clicking. And now QB1 is saying, let's keep the hotness going. I mean, it's rocket science.
I like it.
It's science.
It is. I like it.
All right, now it's time for your favorite part. Let's get to some Packers news, shall we? Packers news, ladies and gentlemen. David Bakhtiari and Josh Myers do individual work at practice. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. 2/5 of the starting offensive line are doing individual work at practice. That is what I'm liking on this Wednesday afternoon / evening, early evening. We got Bakhtiari and Josh Myers. I'm oh my God. I'm a flutter. I'm a Twitter. I'm a whatever you want to call it. I'm so happy we got these guys on the practice field. And speaking of Josh Myers, the Packers have officially designated Josh Myers to return from injured reserve. That's right, Behnke.
Okay.
What's happening here? What's going on? It's like they're starting to get a few pieces back there, little Corey Behnke.
I don't want to get too excited.
I don't want to get excited. Come on.
Not yet.
What
I
is
see him
life
on the field.
If you can't get excited,
I've been getting excited about David Bakhtiari coming back. I've been getting excited, and
for like
it's just
3 months,
it's
right?
just teasing me. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, get excited.
I feel you. I feel you. There's no doubt.
I want to be excited so badly.
I feel you. You are within your rights there, sir. No question about it. As far as everyone who's on the active roster, the only 2 people who didn't practice today were Aaron Rodgers and Kingsley Keke. You're heading into week 18. That's pretty good, man. I mean, I understand there's guys who are on the COVID list. There's guys who are still technically on IR, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But still, have only 2 dudes who don't practice heading into week 18? Pretty damn nice. Pretty damn good. I'll take it. Speaking of that COVID list.
The COVID list, yeah.
We do the two. There are only what's great though is on the regular list there are only 2 left. There are no new additions today. Knock wood, no more today. So the only 2 that are on there are Jair Alexander and Billy Turner. They remain on the COVID list. Everyone else came off, and they were practicing. So that's good news. That's good news. Hopefully that holds for the week. A couple other little pieces of news from this past Vikings game, especially Davante Adams breaks his own single season catch record. And I did find it interesting that David Bakhtiari took to Instagram to chide the Packers for not playing some kind of video tribute to Adams when he did it. And then Davante kind of backhandedly brought it up today in his press availability because Wes asked him about, do you remember when Jordy set some record? And he was like, well, I don't remember much about it. I don't think they stopped and played anything, kind of like they didn't for me this past week. Oh, yes. Damn, Snaps Pro calling out game day operations.
Is it so hard to make a video these days? If you're in the pack, don't you have all the videos? Sakes. Can't you just push a button and
job?
Don't they just have like a control center and they're just like, okay, Davante Adams video, go.
You've got a future Hall of Famer at quarterback.
Aaron Rodgers video,
you've got a potential future Hall of Famer at wide receiver. Don't you think you should have packages ready for anything at any time for all these guys? I mean, whether it's Adams, whether it's Rodgers,
they're just like working from home and
what else are you
blowing
doing?
Their snow or something? Like what?
This is the gig, man.
Don't they have people
play a video for Davante Adams when he sets a record for a franchise that's been around for 100 years? This doesn't seem difficult. Wait, Jeremy, say that again. What was that? Jeremy, see, we got a producer now. See, Corey, I prefer it when you produce because then I know there's only one form of communication, and I don't have to worry about anything else. I have no idea what's going on, but I'm going to keep going. The final bit of news. Wait, did Jeremy just think we were yelling at him? I think that's what just happened. Jeremy, I wasn't yelling at you. We were yelling at game day operations at Lambeau Field.
Jeremy's.
Okay.
I thought he was.
Okay.
Like, I don't know.
I thought Jeremy was like so upset that there was supposed to be some Devontae video that didn't run. Anyway, okay. Final bit of news. Aaron Charles Rodgers, talked retirement for Behnke since last we jawed. The last time we didn't have transplants last week, so we didn't get to talk about this. Aaron Rodgers, point blank, put on the table Favre Watch 2.0.
You knew he was going to.
Point blank saying that.
You knew it was going to happen.
Straight up retiring this offseason is a possibility. What do you think about that?
You knew it was going to happen. I mean, he literally watched Brett Favre. He watched everything Brett Favre did. He watched all the engagement, right? Brett Favre didn't even have Twitter or Instagram or Facebook.
Nope.
And he got more engagement than anybody in the history of the world. So if you're Aaron Rodgers, why not get the engagement? He saw all the engagement he got over the offseason, and he had no consequences for that engagement. So what does it matter? You're just putting Packer fans through the ringer. Who cares about Packer fans? You know what I'm saying? Aaron Rodgers doesn't. So why should
that's a bold statement there, buddy.
We'll talk about that I'm going to caveat that he doesn't during the off season. During the off season. Sorry. I know they're going to clip that out. I'm just saying during the off season, it's very appropriate when you come back from the off season to say, well, I didn't tell anybody, and my people tell me that no one told anybody. So there's where my culpability ends, and screw Packer fans, I don't care. That was what I took out of the off sesion. So sorry, that was my own conjecture. We'll
revisit this later in the show during Blogosphere because we got all sorts of stuff to unpack. But he did address it, and he did say it's a possibility. Now, could it potentially be like, look, if I don't get traded somewhere where I want to be traded to, or if you don't come up with a number contract-wise to keep me in Green Bay, I'm going to just hit the switch and, like, I'm out. Yeah. I'm going to jettison. Yeah. Of course, that's a possibility, right? I mean, all things are on the table here. Although I will also say Aaron had a glowing kind of soliloquy this afternoon on Sirius XM NFL radio with Adam Shine, where he was almost like a love letter to Brian Gutekunst and their relationship. So things seem to be definitely thawed there. So a lot of balls in the air, as they like to say. Should we talk about the offense, Behnke? Should we say what's going on offensively? First of all, congrats to Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, who have combined for 2,239 yards and 17 touchdowns. One of only 4 duos in a Packers offensive backfield as a running back tandem to have achieved 1,000 yards from scrimmage each in a single season. They're the latest to do it, the first to do it since the 80s, I believe. I think since Eddie Lee Ivory and Jerry Ellis. So it'd been a minute. But these guys, and they're the first to do it ever with 1,000 each scrimmage yards and 6 touchdowns each. So they're just killing it. They're killing the game. You love to see it. Well, obviously, we love AJ. We talk to him every Monday night on Carry the G. Obviously, we love Aaron Jones. The two of them together, oh my goodness, it's pretty phenomenal. And it's crazy to think too, because especially heading into a game where they're going to play Detroit, who obviously do employ Jamal Williams, who essentially AJ took his job. Jamal Williams was no slouch as far as production and picking the slack up when Jones got hurt in the past, whatever. But to think that the two of them never did this. And AJ has come in and really put his stamp on that position. Pretty damn impressive from the second-year player.
What's interesting is that the Packers historically have done well with dual running backs.
It is something that they have a little bit of
it's a thing.
A little bit of history with. It's a two-headed monster. And I will say, I loved watching them against the Vikings on Sunday. The pony package, as people like to call it. It was great, and it seems to be a really effective method of attacking Mike Zimmer's defense. We've seen Matt LaFleur utilize the two of them before in that regard. And for whatever reason, it seems to really unlock some stuff as far as, maybe it occupies some of those, they've got very talented linebacking core, a great safety core. It messes up some of those keys and some of their ability to maybe do some of the things they like to try to do for other teams or against other teams. And it's interesting if you go back and look, who wasn't available in that game in Minnesota? Oh, that's right. It's Aaron Jones. Mm-hmm. They didn't have that two-headed monster. Now obviously they still scored a bunch of points, but they were very slow out of the gate in that game as well.
It was a very close game.
Very close. Only lost by 3. But yeah, this tandem, you can't say enough good things about the job they have done, both obviously running the football, but in the passing game, in pass pro, you can't get through a 17-game, 18-game NFL season without keeping your quarterback upright. And those two, for all the production they've had, they also are lights out in pass pro. So
yeah,
shout out to Jones and Dillon. Let's talk about some complimentary pieces, shall we? Because it's really interesting to me how Randall Cobb went down a couple weeks ago, and there was some hand-wringing on the internet, on the radio waves, so to speak, about, who is the slot? Who's going to step up in the slot? I think it's pretty clear that it doesn't matter who steps up as long as someone does. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in the slot. But Alan Lazard, this past game, was a man on a mission and has been really for the last couple of weeks. He's really kind of risen to the occasion.
He stepped up his wide receiver game. He stepped up
no question
his
about
ability.
It.
Like, he was always a blocker and a bruiser, but I think we talked about it the last transplants a couple, now 3 weeks ago, where Larry McCarron was in Rock Report. He was basically pointing out how Lazard has stepped up his game when it comes to actually being a really good wide receiver and some of the wide receiver-y things that he's doing really well this year.
Well, the number one thing, too, is the contested catches, because he's not a guy who's ever going to run away from someone, right? Unless it's really schemed for him. He's not going to blow past you. But, man, Rodgers clearly trusts him. That touchdown, that's a 50-50 ball, essentially, that he comes down with. That he high points it. That's just great play by Lazard. And then you look at kind of his trend now in the second half of the season, basically since the Rams game, which was a bit rough for him. But ever since then, man, he and Rodgers are in lockstep. And obviously the Packers need that. I think MVS had a quiet game, but it depends on what defense they're playing. And if there's a team that has done a defense that's done a really good job of limiting big explosive plays traditionally, it is Minnesota. Now, I know the Packers got them on that big one to MVS in Minnesota, but that is a very rare occurrence. MVS will step up at times. But look, and we're not just talking about the wide receiver position. Talk about the tight end position. You look at Tyler Davis.
Davis,
this kid,
I was going to say, EQ and Davis, right? It's like EQ.
Absolutely.
The fact that we're even saying EQ's name this late in the season bodes well for EQ right now, right?
I very much agree.
And same with Davis. Davis had more plays in that game than he's had all season, I believe.
It's a career high, yes, correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
he was on the field
that's and we didn't see Big Dog as much in there, right? We got Big Dog just right there, just waiting for his moment, right? And it's like, that's all we need. It goes back to that whole, we love the dinking and dunking. It goes back to if you can get guys like EQ, Davis, Lewis, if you can get these guys to contribute one or two times when you've got, Dillon, Adams, and Jones making most of the other stuff, it's like, it's gravy. It's nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing, too, because if you're a defensive coordinator, who do you key on, right? You're obviously shading to Devontae. You're obviously ready for Jones and to a lesser extent maybe A.J. Dillon. Outside of that, you have no clue where it might go on any given play. And it reminds me, Corey, of what we used to talk about back when Favre was, throwing it to, 9, 10, 11
Weapons,
different
12.
guys in a game.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That shit was awesome, and you and I would just geek out about it. And now it's kind of not quite back to that level, but it is.
It's not quite back to that.
It's not there, but it's trending that way in the sense of it's always going to flow through Devontae, right? We know
that's the thing. We never had a Devontae, right? Back in coming up then, Sterling Sharpe was off the team, there was never a guy like Devontae Adams, and truth be told, like, you do have to get Davante Adams the ball because the guys are
No, of course. But that's the thing, right? You're not going to not throw Davante the ball because you want to spread it out to 10 guys. Like, no, Davante's got to get fed. There's zero question about that.
Yeah.
But it is great to know that if you want to roll to Davante the way the Ravens clearly did and some other teams have to a bit of a lesser extent, but still, they're always rolling to Davante. It sometimes doesn't matter, but sometimes it does, and you've got to be able to produce in other places. And, man, the other guys are stepping up. Although I will say, that first drive, when Rodgers hits Davante up the right sideline and then hits him again on the third down up the left sideline for like 40, it's like both of those plays, there's, in quotes, safety help on both of those plays.
Yep.
And it just doesn't
matter.
It doesn't matter. There's nothing you can do. If they're throwing and catching like that, like they were on Sunday night, it's a wrap, man. There's nothing you can do. Speaking of the start, it was great to watch those throws, and they had a couple runs. Big one from Aaron Jones, got him down in the red zone, and then they stall out. Slow starts, people. It's who they are. I've spent the whole year
all season. I've literally told you this since the third week of the season. The third week, Nagler. Oh, how much of my life have I spent just being like, it's who they are.
Behnke,
they call timeouts when they shouldn't, and
hey, whoa. Hey, whoa. They went into halftime with 3 timeouts this week. So, baby steps.
I didn't like it though. I don't like it when they don't. I don't feel right when they don't call timeouts unnecessarily.
Timeouts.
It just doesn't feel like that's the team we're watching. And this is what they do. Like they don't. It goes back to my whole thing about the first quarter. It's like we're not a first and second quarter team. It's like the second quarter. Oh, hey, wait, we're playing football.
They're a second quarter team. There's no doubt about that. But they are not a first quarter team.
It takes us to the second quarter.
Undeniable. Yeah. Yes, that is undeniable at this point. I acquiesce to your great football knowledge, Corey Behnke. It took me until week 17, but I'm with you. Slow starts.
No, and it's not a knowledge thing. It's just like acquiescence. You refuse to acquiesce to their identity. I kept
thinking there'd be some adjustment. I thought there'd be some idea of, hey, this isn't working. Let's try something else. But apparently Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers and company are just too damn stubborn. So whatever.
I mean,
fine.
I do think there's something to be said for that. Is that the relentless drive of Aaron Rodgers and coach to allow this offense to be what Aaron Rodgers wants it to be versus what coach wants it to be is the brilliance of coach this season.
See, okay, but I don't know if Matt would ever admit that. And I kind of
He's
tried
never
to ask
admit
him
it.
that
It's speculation. I'm
Transplants,
speculating.
Yeah, I know.
I personally feel that is what's happening, right? I feel like
I tend to agree.
Yeah,
I will say I tend to agree. It's just frustrating. I don't know, but it's not really because hell, they're first seed overall. So
yeah, I was about to say, they're the first seed overall.
I mean,
everything's going through Lambeau. Like, what do you want?
I don't know. I want faster starts, Behnke. I want to be able to just relax in the third quarter.
Why? We did. I relaxed the entire game. I knew we were winning that game. I knew we were like anybody who didn't realize we were going to win even last week.
Okay,
I called the dagger when they missed the extra point.
That was the Cleveland game on Christmas.
I know,
That's
that
different.
one and this one.
But then, no, the Vikings game. Look at the tape, sir, in the watch party. I asked if you should throw the dagger because you'd already done it like on the first drive against Cleveland. And you, sir, were like, no, I don't know yet. So don't give me
I wasn't prepared to throw the dagger, but I wasn't stressed out. I wasn't like,
there you go.
I was chilling.
Yeah, all right. Let's talk about the defense, shall we? Let's talk about Preston Smith. Let's talk about Preston Smith remembering your tweets. And by your, I mean you, the internet. Preston Smith remembers your tweets, people. Every sack, every time he makes a big play, every time he makes a tackle, I got to think this kid is like sitting there going, y'all wanted me cut. You all want me out of town. You were ready. You not only wanted me to take a pay cut, that was at the minimum, but you wanted me cut. You wanted me out the door. And Preston Smith remembers your tweets and remembers how you were feeling about him. And now he, I think, is like 2 sacks away from getting another $1 million and getting right back to where he was pay scale-wise. So shout out to Preston Smith. F the haters. I love this guy. I love it. All he's done is play at an incredibly high level pretty much all year, including on Sunday night. Guy just balls out. I love him. I love Preston Smith. Another guy who I love is Kenny Clark.
Yeah.
You talk about – it's interesting to watch that game on Christmas against the Browns, right, where he's coming off of COVID and he's clearly on a pitch count and they get run all over. Now, some of that's on the edge. It's not at Kenny, obviously, or even where he should have been. But it is amazing to see what a difference a week made as far as his play and his explosiveness. I mean, he is just the engine. Dalvin Cook ran all over this team last year and this year in Lambeau. And this year, Dalvin Cook couldn't get anything going against the Packers. I mean, and a big part of that is Kenny Clark. Whether it's splitting double teams, whether it's, stacking and shedding a guy and making a tackle, whether it's just clogging up lanes and letting Devondre Campbell go to work. Kenny Clark is the engine, man. He's the engine that makes everything work on defense. It's so nice to have him back on the field, like at seemingly 100%, because, damn, this defense is just a different animal when he's going full bore.
It really is. It really allows us to only have to rush 4 pretty consistently, which is pretty amazing considering that, for the Packers in the past to generate any pass rush, any pressure at all on the quarterback, typically we're rushing more than 4. Kenny is the one that allows us to do that 100%.
Big time. And another thing, the last thing we want to point out on the defensive side of the ball is the improved tackling. Definitely on display on Sunday night. Now, you can argue about...
It's a wave frequency tackling. Because we were really good. No, seriously. Because I can go back to the tape, and we were shocked by the amount of tackling in the first 3 or 4 games in a good way. And then it dropped off a little bit. Right? A
little bit, right.
And then now it's come back, right? And as we've stopped this rushing attack...
But it's weird because it was so poor on Christmas, and then it kind of flipped on Sunday night. Like, it was really good Sunday night. So whatever, I don't know if the cold kind of snapped them to attention or what, but man, let's keep that up. And I am very interested to see how the tackling is on Sunday in Detroit. It's a meaningless game. Now, if there are starters in there, I'm very interested to see how the tackling is. Because if it's backups, it's like you're playing for your job next year or trying to ascend the depth chart or maybe playing for, other teams if you think you're probably going to get let go in the offseason, whatever. But, man, it is an interesting kind of situation when there is a game that does not technically mean a thing. Are you flying in there and making that tackle 1,000 miles an hour? I mean, don't forget. That wasn't too long ago. We had the Clinton Dix debacle in Detroit. It's like I'm very interested to see what the tackling looks like on Sunday. Let's just put.
I don't know. I always go back to there's only kind of one way to play, but I hear you. I mean, it's hard.
There should
to
be.
Play. You hear guys say it where they're like, if you play differently, you raise the
You're
risk
gonna get hurt.
Actually worse injury.
1,000%. Of course. No doubt. Yeah. I totally agree. But yet, year after year around the NFL, you can point to games where, especially towards the end of the year, in games that don't matter, where guys are not quite as ardent and flying around. And, it's a feel thing, I guess. Speaking of Detroit on Sunday, let's take a quick look at the Lions. A couple of familiar faces in Jamal Williams, as we talked about before, and younger brother of Equiminius St. Brown, we've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, who has actually been pretty fucking phenomenal for Detroit this year. So we've got those 2 gentlemen to look out for. Obviously, we're all going to love Jamal. Love watching him dance.
Big B, shut your ears right now. We're shutting down Jamal.
Oh, God.
You right now. Big B, don't listen to what I'm saying. We're shutting down Jamal. Shut down the GOAT. We're shutting down the GOAT this season, buddy.
In Seattle, he had his first touchdown since September. So he hasn't not.
We're shutting him down. I'm telling you,
he's not been visiting the
Big
end
B's
zone
gonna
with
dislike
regularity.
this show now, but
yeah, no doubt.
What's happening?
No doubt. Dan Campbell under fire as a play caller. I love that. Remember when Mike McCarthy gave up play calling and then took it back Well, Dan Campbell is under fire in Detroit for his play calling, especially for the lackluster way they came out in Seattle, and pretty much for his calls all year long. But we will see if Dan Campbell puts something together for the Green Bay Packers with his knee biters on Sunday. And finally, hey, remember how we were talking about the running tandem earlier? This defensive line for the Lions was completely pushed around in Seattle. I expect the Packers to push these guys around. I want to see movement. And I don't know if how much Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon play, but I don't care if it's those guys. I don't care if it's Patrick Taylor. I want to see some holes, and I want to see these guys rip this place apart.
It's going to be the Love Taylor show. That's what I'm calling it.
I kind of think you're right. I think that's going to happen sooner rather than later in this game.
Yeah.
No matter
Second
quarter,
the score, which is our best quarter.
No matter the score.
Jordan Love's going to have 3 touchdowns in this game. Mark my
How
words.
good did Jordan Love look on Sunday night, man? Like, I understand it's like end of the game, and like I just love that he got in at Lambeau. You know, obviously his one start was on the road. I love that he got some action
in the
Lambeau,
somewhat cold. Yep.
In the cold, and moved the offense too. I mean, I know they didn't get in the end zone, but he converted a couple third downs. Like, he looked good too. He looked comfortable. So, all about that life. And I think, yes, I'm with you. I think we will see Jordan Love on Sunday. All right, you ready, buddy? Ready for this? Let's do it.
This week in the Packer Blogosphere.
That's right. It's this week in the Packer Blogosphere. The return of that venerable series. Corey Behnke, I had all this stuff planned to talk about for Blogosphere about like some members of the local media, the way the team is covered, and all this nonsense. But that's all been pushed aside. I was all ready for it, but we'll attack that maybe next week or in the offseason. Because one Hub Arkush has come along and given us just what cannot be ignored and not be denied. It's got to be spoken about. We talked about it a little bit at the top of the show. For those of you who don't know, Hub is he used to produce
Canadian. Sorry, did I say that out loud?
And publish a rag called the Pro Football Weekly, which I actually loved. I mean,
everybody read that back in the day.
I loved Pro Football Weekly like 20 years ago, right? And Hub they did not do a great job of getting ready for the internet takeover when the internet was becoming the internet, and PFW pretty much just kind of shut down. But now the remnants of it are still kind of, the entrails are spread around the internet and on the radio. And Hub has a couple different weekly appearances around the Chicago area. And he went on the radio and said this. Now this is like about 2 minutes. So it's a bit longer than the stuff we usually play anywhere on the show, but on Blogosphere, what have you. But I want to play this whole thing so that any Bears fans out there, anybody who wants to give us crap for going after Hub, can't claim that we took it out of context or some bullshit. So here's Hub in his own words about why he won't. Hub, who, by the way, is a voter for the AP NFL Most Valuable Player Award. Here are his own words about why he will not be voting for Aaron Rodgers for MVP.
MVP vote this year, Hub?
I do. Yeah, I'm one of the AP. There's 50 of us who vote, and I am one of us.
And did you reveal that you're not voting for Aaron Rodgers? Is that correct?
I did. Yeah. I mean, I've been pretty consistent about that all year. I don't think you can be the biggest jerk in the league and punish your team and your organization and your fan base the way he did and be the most valuable player. Has he been the most valuable on the field? Yeah, you could make that argument, but I don't think he is clearly that much more valuable than Jonathan Taylor or Cooper Kupp or maybe even Tom Brady. And so from where I sit, the rest of it is why he's not going to be my choice. Do I think he's going to win it? Probably. A lot of the voters don't approach it the same way that I do. Others do, who I've spoken to. But one of the ways we get to keep being voters is we're not allowed to say who we are voting for until after the award has been announced. I'm probably pushing the envelope by saying who I'm not voting for, but we're not really supposed to reveal our votes.
Are they supposed to? Are off-field things like vaccination status supposed to factor in, or are there no guidelines for that?
There's no guidelines. We are told to pick the guy who we think is the most valuable to his team, and I don't think it says anywhere, strictly on the field. Although I do think he hurt his team on the field, by the way he acted off the field. They're going to get the number 1 seed anyway. But what if the difference had come down to the Chiefs game, where he lied about being vaccinated and ended up not playing and they got beat. So I think all these things should be considerations. That's the way I look at it. He ruined the entire off season for that football team. They were left in jeopardy. They had no idea what they were doing. A lot of the off the field stuff was wasted because he wasn't there. He tortured his fan base, and he's getting ready. He's already started doing it again.
Oh, so he couldn't have won the MVP before the season for you?
For me, no. Yeah, no. I just think that the way he's carried himself is inappropriate.
It's inappropriate, Behnke. It's inappropriate.
Wow. There's so much. What's crazy is there's so much to unpack, and the one thing he said that is true.
I know.
Okay, and I've said this, and I'm a little bit hurt by it, but I love Aaron Rodgers. I think he deserves the MVP. Right. There's three things. So he did torture his fan base. Okay, that's the only thing I'm gonna say the guy got right. That's literally the only thing.
This is literally why I wanted to play the whole thing. Because I wanted to get your response to that.
He did torture the fan base, right? He used us as collateral damage to help himself. Now, do I hate on that? And did that affect the MVP? No. I'm like a little bit butthurt by it. I'm a huge Packer fan that's a little bit butthurt by it, but I'm going to be okay if he wins a Super Bowl and he is the MVP. Okay, but the two things are, Hub, if you're not allowed to say who you are voting for, you're not allowed to say who you aren't voting for, you fucking moron. The second thing is, anybody who puts Cooper Kupp, even Cooper Kupp is surprised he's in the conversation with Aaron Rodgers. Cooper Kupp! Cooper Kupp! Are you kidding me with Cooper Kupp? Cooper Kupp! You should not get the vote just because of Cooper Kupp. You're what?
Oh my God. That's so great. I didn't even expect that, but that's wonderful. Oh, my God. I mean, to me, everything you just said, yes. And what's fascinating to me, so obviously, for those of you who maybe haven't seen yet, Aaron Rodgers was asked about this afternoon, and he literally called Hub a bum. See, he's an absolute bum.
I think he's an idiot more than a bum.
But then there was something interesting I found, that Aaron then went on to say that, if you want to, he's clearly doesn't know me, he's never talked to me, blah, 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 but then said he's upset, or he just thinks that I'm not vaccinated and therefore doesn't think I should get the MVP. Hub never mentions vaccination in that clip that we just played. He's never mentioned it anywhere that I can find publicly. In fact, in that clip, he literally says, and
he lays out the reasons
that, he literally confirms that he came into the season when everyone thought that Aaron was vaccinated, that there's no way that I'm giving this vote to Aaron Rodgers. So for Aaron to then turn around and say, well, he's just doing it because I'm unvaccinated. Come on, Aaron, buddy. Come on. Be better than that. Rise above it. I'm like, you can call him a bum, and I get that, and I 100% support that terminology. But it's got nothing to do with it. And here's the worst part of it. So Aaron Rodgers has been on Pat McAfee, been with us in the media. His State Farm ads are airing every single week, 1 million times every fucking game. And he's still on McAfee claiming, the woke mom's after me, cancel culture's coming for me. How is he canceled in any way, shape, or form? He's not.
No.
But someone like Hub gives him ammunition. Yep. This persecution complex. Now he gets a little more fuel for the fire. Like, oh, they're all coming for me.
Yep.
But again, to turn it around, Aaron, he didn't say a word about vaccination. He literally said you were persona non grata coming into the season after all of the drama that, by the way, you created. You dropped the bomb on draft night.
Yep.
So, again,
created and then, not to hate on Aaron Rodgers, but created and then did not take accountability. So he had the greatest press conference of his career when he came back. I loved it, but he did not take accountability for the fact that he had wasted our lives the entire freaking offseason with nonsense.
You know, like, it's one thing, and here's where, and people say, oh, well, if you didn't, like, Aaron Rodgers can live his life and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And that's fine, and that's great and true, right? He went off to Hawaii and lived his life, and God bless him for it. But you cannot lean into the fact that, hey, you know, I showed up at a Packers bar in Paris at midnight or in the middle of the night or whatever, and everyone freaked out, and everyone was, like, so happy to see me, and they were, like, completely blew their minds that I was there. Or show up here in New York, kettle of fish on draft night. Remember, we were doing a live draft stream in the studio here in New York. And we got a text, oh, Rodgers is at Kettle of Fish. And we're like, that's insane. And people lost their minds, right?
Yep.
Because we love the Packers. And you're the starting quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. You cannot take all of that goodwill and then just dismiss it when necessary.
Yeah.
And then just completely take it for granted when necessary without it being noted. Now, can you do it? Yep, 100%.
Yeah, he can do it, and he's proved that there are no real consequences.
And he's shown you can do it. But those of us who are paying attention, we remember. The North remembers. Everyone else talking about he's the king of the North. Let's do another Game of Thrones analogy. The North remembers.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. After saying all of that, Aaron Rodgers 1,100,000% deserves to win the MVP of the NFL. And no one, you cannot change my mind. I don't care about all that shit we just said. Aaron Rodgers is the MVP of the NFL, and that's bullshit.
But here's the other
that's
thing.
Bullshit. Yeah.
But this is what I always talk about, and I've talked about for fucking, it feels like forever, at least a decade. You can search on Cheesehead TV right now. Go ahead and do it. For any mention of Aaron Rodgers and his family and the drama that has been pumped up ad nauseum for 10-plus years, you won't find it.
Nope.
I've consistently said that is out of bounds. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about whatever relationship he has with his family. I've never given a shit about who he's dated. And I sure as shit don't care about whether he's vaccinated or not. That is his choice. I do not care. I do care he misled people about it and or lied about it. I do care about what you're talking about, Corey, the fact that he
following
takes
the rules
for granted.
Yep.
He absolutely I care about that. But I don't like anything that happens outside the football field and about his job as the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, face of the franchise. I simply do not give a shit. And it absolutely shocks me that Hub sits there and says, oh, I came into the year knowing I was never going to vote for him. What? He should absolutely be stripped of his right to vote.
100%. Because he's not. He's like, it's like when the judge asks you at the jury, like, "Hey, this guy is on trial for murder. Can you put aside your things?" Right. La la la. Hub answered the question, "No, I can't," and they still gave him a vote.
They were still allowed on the jury. Exactly. Like, are you able to, understand that this man is on trial for murder? Yep, no problem.
So before we move on to Kurt Benkert, Mike Witt asked a question earlier I was waiting to ask, and we won't ask it in social. He basically says rank worst three, okay? So he's got Paul Allen, Hub Arkush, and Bob McGinn. So I'm gonna go Paul Allen number 1, Hub number 2, and Bob McGinn number 3.
Totally.
What do you got, Nagler?
I think that's pretty easy. I don't think there's any question there.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
I think. But
let's talk about some good. Let's talk about some good stuff now. You got some good stuff.
Some good. We talked about Hub. We talked about the nonsense. Let's talk about Kurt Benkert showing up last night at Titletown with destroying a YouTuber
awesome.
to host a football skills event at Titletown. And hey, shout out to Cassidy Hill from PackersNews.com for this footage. This is ripped right off their site. That's literally Kurt Benkert with like 300 people. And there's Eric Stokes. And MVS apparently showed up as well. They literally just did this, put out the call basically on social media.
Yeah,
there
that's
was
cool.
Apparently a last minute, like a couple hours before they had to change venues. Kurt basically saying, just let's go to Titletown. And they showed up, and like all these basically kids showed up, and they did a bunch of football stuff. I mean, that's so fucking cool. And I know the Destroying is a former punter in college, and he's a YouTuber now. He took on the NCAA back in the day about being able to kind of monetize and profit off his YouTube channel. I love this. I just love that Kurt did this. I got to admit, when I first saw the tweet, I was like, "Oh God, what is this? Like, why are you out there?"
He was like, "Can I have a high school?"
Like, whatever. Yeah. Like, I was just like, "Oh no." But I got to admit, when I kind of saw the vibe and saw like the kids being so excited and the other teammates coming out, it's so organic and fucking cool, man. I don't know. It won me over. I literally was sitting here like judging it, and then I thought, why are you being such a dick? Like, I thought it was really cool, ultimately. I mean, all those kids, you saw him interacting with all those fucking young Packers fans. I mean, you talk about football, right? Football. This sport that is obviously number one in America, but doesn't mean it always will be. You got this guy coming out and, talking to another generation who clearly come to football through YouTube, through the internet, what have you. Man, that's awesome. I love that. I just love it. Thought it was totally cool. All right, let's take some super chats.
Okay, go ahead and give me the first ones we got. Supers, Jeremy. I'll make sure I'm following along. I think the first one is from Luke Carnes.
Luke,
where did he? Thank you for being the best Packer fan site over the years. I can't say enough for the happy hour and these shows. I don't have my my social all the way, so I can't read his entire super chat. So I'll have to read it.
Thank you, Luke.
Party. Then I think I got Michael M next. Is that my next one? Yeah. Coach hasn't had much luck challenging plays. Do you think he is less aggressive with those come playoffs, or who needs timeouts? Winfrey caught
it.
Thanks, Michael.
No, we know he'll just keep challenging. And yes, Winfrey did catch it, but it kind of points to like it doesn't. It's kind of you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, because like it's clear that Winfrey caught that and it still didn't get overturned. So I think he's going to keep challenging.
And then I, of course, decided to keep gaming. Should I get a Dylan jersey or a Douglas jersey?
Yes. Get a Dylan jersey. You want a Dylan jersey. Dylan jersey. I mean, Douglas, great story. Love him. Who knows if he's here next year? We'll see.
True. All right. Then we got, what's the next one? Michael, doesn't the Preston tweet sentiment apply to Rodgers' situation too? Seem to recall a lot of people writing him, and I can't read the rest because I don't have my...
Writing him off? Maybe a little bit. I think there were certainly Packers fans who were like, a very small minority of Packers fans who were like, oh, let's just move on. But I will say for myself, I came to the point where I didn't give a shit what happened. I just wanted a resolution. And I think I reached that point 3 days after the draft. So I don't know if it was so much people like, oh, Rodgers is over, because especially since he was coming off an MVP season, I don't think anybody thought Rodgers couldn't play anymore. So I think that's a little different.
Then we got Mark. Tell me why that guy with the Rams is better than Clark, because I don't buy it.
Because you're right, because you're smart. Man, come on now.
Then we got, thanks to the super chat, seems like Behnke has been salty towards Rodgers this year. From Justin.
Ooh, salty. Rodgers, you've been salty towards Rodgers.
I'm salty. No, I mean, I said it in my rant. I said it in the beginning of Transplants. I got over it, but clearly I haven't. Me, like Rodgers, I tend to keep chips that are on my shoulder, and I keep them for a long time. I love QB1. I got his back. I got his back, and I'm a huge fan, and I think he's one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. And I think he's been an incredible light, positive presence for the Green Bay Packers, and everything that he's done for the Green Bay Packers, and that'll never go away. He won a Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers, but I'm just. He said one thing in a press conference, which I know is hard to hold people to, but he said a thing that I don't think is true about he did not leak, or he has been told by his representatives that he did not leak, and I'm just holding his feet to the fire to that one thing, and I'm not letting go because I'm a terrier. So there you go.
Fair point.
Then we got Michael.
Well,
M.
It's one thing. Wait a second. One thing. I think it's two things. It's that, what you just said, and it's also Green Bay not being a vacation destination.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that
Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay's vacation destination. Too. Okay, but
I was going to say
that's just like him being so like conceited that he just doesn't realize, and that's okay. I can forgive him for being conceited. That's fine. That he's got to be confident. He needs that.
Yeah,
then we got another one. Of course, like I go to the chat, and now I can't read all of them. So we got Michael M. What is your favorite postseason memory, and why is it this year when we go win the whole damn thing, go to playoffs, and then I can't read?
Come on, Michael. Let's go,
Michael.
That's what I'm talking
Thank
about.
Thank you for the super chat.
That's what
Appreciate
I'm talking about, Michael.
What's your favorite memory? What's your favorite postseason memory?
That's a really good question. I gotta say, I can't lie. It was when I was in overflow for the press at the NFC Championship game in Chicago, and Raji intercepted the pass and ran it back for a touchdown.
That was a great one.
It's the only time I've ever had to get up and run out of the press box or the press area because I ran down the hall and gave out a big yell because I was so happy. It's the only time I ever broke, basically, in the press box. It's the only time.
I think
that's probably my favorite postseason memory.
I think for me, it's actually, I know this is going to be it's not a postseason memory, but it really is because it denotes really the first time in a long time the Green Bay Packers had achieved postseason success and about to go into the postseason, and it was the game where Yancey Thigpen dropped the ball. And
yes,
what's so important about that
game
I was at that game, so it was like one of these game-changing games for me, and it was the first time that Raji actually addressed each side of the stadium personally after the game, and it's just like this incredible moment in Packers history for so many reasons, and it's this penultimate, it's almost like a fulcrum moment where that moment happens,
Here
and
they come.
Everything since that moment has happened because of that moment, and so that's what it is for me. Then we got Andrew's Paradise. I would rather be the only towel boy in the Greek Navy than be a Bears rider. All right. I mean, that's super hyper specific. So maybe Andrew's Paradise really wanted to be a towel boy in the Greek Navy for some reason. Then we got Johnny Rivers. Johnny, these journos are the ones that justify robbing Sterling Sharpe of his immortality because he was a, quote, jerk to them. We suffer these dorks who lose their shit when they can't malign with impunity. Ooh.
Yep.
I like that.
Something Corey's talked about for a long time. The lens gets trained on the media, and all of a sudden the rules change.
Yep.
That's why it's like, you want to dish out, you better be ready to take it. We also talked about this with Bob McGinn all the time. You want to talk about like guys, stillborn babies in your end of year grades, but you get so affronted when we talk about what a jerk you are.
When someone says you're senile on a podcast because you
then you take it upon yourself to ridicule them and whatever. Like, welcome.
Yeah, you ridicule bloggers and then you become a blogger. You hypocrite.
Right? Like the walls are down. The walls are down. So to this point, 1,000,000,000% Sterling Sharpe, and guys have said it, point blank admitted, because of Sterling's attitude when he was a player, they have held that against him, which is fucking ridiculous. Of course.
I agree. Then we got, I think the next one is Loitomaki. Can we get This Little Piggy is Going to the Super Bowl Cheesehead TV shirt?
I don't know about This Little Piggy, but we'll definitely have some kind of Cheesehead TV super merch if and when that happens, no doubt.
Tron God 714, thank you for the 2 super stickers. Appreciate that. And then, even though I didn't read his super chat very well, we got Luke again with the cheers. Appreciate you, Luke. Thanks for all your support of Cheesehead TV.
Salut.
Huge Patreon supporter. Appreciate
Absolutely.
that. And that's where we are, Nagler. Oh, there's
Hey,
one more.
speaking of Patreon.
There's one more. There's one more.
There's one more? What do we got?
Oh, no, maybe there's not. Psych. Jeremy lied to me.
Jeremy
lied to me.
Well, let's talk about Patreon for a second.
Yeah, let's do
it. Our
it.
Patreon members are the lifeblood of Cheesehead TV. Had a great happy hour the other day. Had a great meetup at the stadium for the Bears game. I can't thank you enough. Because obviously Luke is here, and there are plenty of other Patreons who tune in each and every week. You guys really are the backbone of what we do. We thank you so much for your support. If you want to get involved and support Cheesehead TV, all you got to do is go to patreon.com/CheeseheadTV. All we ask is $5 a month. It supports everything we do across the brand. We really greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Corey, you got anything else before we head out tonight?
No, let's win this game. Let's get Jordan Love 3 touchdowns. Let's get Taylor a touchdown. Let's get it going, and let's finish up this 17-work season. Juwan Winfrey, let's do it.
That's what I'm in. That'll do it for this episode of Packer Transplants. We'd like to thank everyone who makes Cheesehead TV part of their daily Packers routine. We are and will always be devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide.
What do we like to do? Put the best what out there? Come on, Nagler, help me out. Best 5, all right? Best 5.